Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. My name's Tom, and I'm with Faronics. I wrote a blog this month about Windows updates. So thanks very much if you read the blog. And in this session, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about how we at Faronics can help you deliver your Windows updates. So this session is especially going to be relevant to IT managers looking after lots of workstations. I mean, it's relevant to IT managers looking after small numbers of workstations, but the more workstations you're looking after, the more time you can save. So thinking about how to deliver Windows updates to those workstations without causing too much disruption to your users. So essentially, this is something that can take quite a lot of time out of your day or your week, but it really doesn't have to. Yeah, so it's lovely to be with you all today, and thank you for joining today's session, which I hope is going to prove helpful. And if you have any questions as we go through, please just pop them in the Zoom chat, and we'll happily pause for questions at the end of today's session. So just a little introduction on Faronics before I start explaining how we can help you with Windows updates. We've been around for 26 years now. In those 26 years, we have sold more than 12 million licenses in over 150 countries, and we have over 33,000 customers around the world. Our headquarters are in Vancouver on the west coast of Canada. We also have offices in the UK, that's where I'm based, and also in the USA and in Singapore. So that's really where our product development happens. But we have also many fantastic partners all around the world who work with us. So it doesn't matter if you're not near any of those 4 offices you can see on the map there. There will be someone near who can look after you in your territory. So if you're interested to know who that local representative might be, please just pop it in the Q&A and we'll be able to let you know. So an IT manager is really walking this tightrope every day, and that tightrope is a tightrope between usability on one side and security on the other side. You want to keep your organization completely secure from any threats, but at the same time, you want to achieve that without disrupting anyone's work. Windows updates are really a classic example of that tightrope because Microsoft are finding vulnerabilities all the time and they're patching them all the time. So it's really important that when Microsoft do that, when Microsoft deliver a patch, then you need to deliver those patches to your team for maximum security. You don't want to put your organization at risk by having Microsoft issuing a patch, but it's not yet live in your environment. But sometimes that can happen in a bit of an annoying way. If a user feels they're just stuck watching the updates deliver and they can't really get anything done, they feel frustrated. So that's really the problem we're describing here. And fortunately, Faronics can solve that problem for you. So I'm going to demonstrate how we can solve that problem. So we allow management of Windows updates. We can automate your Windows updates for you so that they deliver often when you're asleep or out of production hours, and you don't need too much or any manual intervention. It can just set up to happen. And there are 3 different ways in which Faronics can deliver those Windows updates for you. So the first 2 ways are in a product called Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze. So Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze is a complete set of endpoint tools to help you manage your workstations, especially if you have a large number. There's all kinds of time-saving devices here that will optimize the performance of your IT and will save you time and save you money. So Windows Updates is one of the core pieces of functionality here. But there's another really core functionality here called Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze is a reboot to restore solution. If you have Deep Freeze enabled on your devices, that will ensure that when those devices restart, they will restart in their original state. So any local changes that get introduced by a local user, they will be eliminated on restart. There are several benefits to Deep Freeze in terms of security as an underlying layer of security in case you have anything bad happen to the device. And in terms of efficiency, you're always running your hardware in its optimum state. And in terms of help desk tickets, you should find that if you have Deep Freeze enabled, then you are eliminating a large proportion of your help desk tickets because most of them will disappear on a restart. So there's a decision to take about whether you're going to deliver your Windows updates with Deep Freeze, which I will show you first. And then the second option will be if you're going to deliver your Windows updates without Deep Freeze, which I will show you second. So it really depends on whether Deep Freeze is important to you as to whether option 1 or option 2 is most relevant to you. Deep Freeze is typically useful in multi-user environments, for example, schools, universities, libraries, anywhere where you have a lot of different users coming and going throughout the course of a day, and you want, when one user sits down at a workstation, that the previous user's data is eliminated. So if that sounds like that's useful, then option 1 is going to be how you would want to deliver your Windows updates. So you've got a few options here. So I'm setting up my policy and I have Deep Freeze enabled in my policy, and I'm going to decide to allow Deep Freeze to deliver my Windows updates. So I have a few options. So one option is whether I want to cache the Windows update or not to cache the Windows updates. You could see it either way. Cache Windows update is most likely to be popular in large scale environments because of the amount of bandwidth you're going to save. If you don't cache Windows updates, then you definitely know that you're 100% secure. You're not opening up any possible vulnerabilities in terms of Deep Freeze, which will always restore back to the point that you choose. You can choose where you retrieve your Windows updates from. So you have a choice of the Microsoft Windows Update website. And if you select that option, you can decide whether you want to retrieve updates, the security and critical updates only, or you could choose the security, critical, and feature updates, or you could just choose all updates to retrieve from Microsoft Windows Update website. So the other option is to use WSUS server. So that would just be a case of putting the server details in there. And you can tick that box if you want to use a target that would allow you to target specific workstations. So having selected here which of these options are going to be most relevant to your environment, you would then need to schedule a task. So Windows updates typically deliver on a Tuesday, so I might want to schedule my task for, say, a Wednesday or a Thursday, and I'm going to schedule my task to start at 1 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, and I might choose to finish the task at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or another option So I could just end the task there, or you might want to end the task when the Windows update completes. So what I'm doing here is I am making sure that my Windows updates are going to deliver out of production hours. They're not going to disrupt anyone's work, and I can keep my machines completely up to date all the time, and I don't need to really intervene in any way. In this first option, in which I'm delivering Windows updates alongside deep freeze, what will happen at 1 o'clock in the morning is that deep freeze will disable itself, the Windows updates will deliver to the machine, and then at the end of the maintenance window, deep freeze will re-enable itself. So deep freeze as a reboot to restore solution will restore always to an up-to-date machine. So I'm not restoring to an out-of-date machine. So I have a few options around what the user experience is going to look like. So obviously in this case, I'm delivering these Windows updates at a time where it's unlikely that anyone will be working, but you might want to, for some reason, deliver these Windows updates at a time where someone would be working, in which case you can tick that box if you wish to allow your user to cancel the task. You can decide whether you want to attempt to wake up locally and whether you want to shut down the workstation after the task has delivered. Do you want to disable the keyboard and the mouse for the duration of the task? And you can choose whether you want to show a message to the user. You can say how many minutes in advance of that task you want to display the message, and you can type whatever message you like in there to be displayed when the task starts. And then you've got another option to display a message during the task. So you can configure all this to cause the least possible amount of disruption or zero disruption to your users. You do have another option. Before I move on to the second way that Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze can deliver Windows updates, I will also just show you the thawed period task. And the reason I'm just showing you that is in case sometimes we get asked about delivering Windows updates via another party. So you might be interested in something else that you can see here. Like suppose you want to use this product to deliver imaging or remote connect or to block executable files, but you still want to deliver your Windows updates in the same way that you are currently doing so. In that case, you can set a thawed period task that coincides with the Windows update task that you have set up with the other party. So you could thaw your workstation, say between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning, and deliver your Windows updates via the other party at the same time between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the morning. And then again, you will be restoring to an up-to-date machine. So you get the benefit of deep freeze as a reboot to restore solution, but you're also making sure that you can deliver the Windows updates in the way that you're currently delivering them. So that's the first use case, is if you are interested in using deep freeze and you want to deliver your Windows updates with deep freeze enabled. So the second use case is if you're not keen on deep freeze, so the reboot to restore solution doesn't sound like something you'd need. If so, you would deliver your Windows updates under the software updater. So I will just set up a new policy here. So this will be Windows updates, say no deep freeze. I can have as many policies as I like, and I can have as many configurations as I like to different groups or tagged workstations. Whatever works for me. I don't have to have the same setup for all my computers. So you can see here under the software updater module, there's all the pre-packaged applications that you can deliver through Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, but that's really the subject of another session. Today we're focusing on Windows updates. So you can select here that you wish to deliver your Windows updates via software updater. And here you have each of the categories of Windows updates. And we'd always recommend that critical and security updates would always install. And you can set all your other updates to always install if you like, or you can set an approval period, an approval stage, if you want to have a look at an update before deciding whether to deliver it. So you have a few different options around how that works in practice. So when you have always install updates that are marked to always install, you can delay them by up to a month, however many days you want after release. You can determine how regularly you patch. You can, if you want to force auto reboot prior to installation, then you can do that. And you can decide whether you want to download your Windows updates prior to the scheduled maintenance periods. You can decide whether you want to restart after the updates are delivered. So do you want to always restart, or do you want to do so only if required? And then you have some specific options around Windows 10. So Windows 10, typically you get a release which has a couple of branches. They're public releases, so they're ready for anyone, but Microsoft have this first category, semi-annual channel targeted, which means it's ready for most people. And then semi-annual channel means it's definitely ready for widespread use in all organizations. So you can select which branch readiness level you'd like. And again, you can defer feature updates from Windows 10, and you can defer security improvements from Windows 10. Okay, so that's those are the settings that you can configure for delivering your Windows updates without deep freeze. And you have an advanced option under the advanced option tab, which is the cache server. So this may be especially relevant if, suppose you have 1,000 machines, you're delivering your Windows updates to those 1,000 machines. It may be preferable to have one of those machines retrieve the updates from the internet and then distribute to the other 999 via your local network rather than over the internet, which would save you quite a lot of bandwidth. Okay, so you can schedule your updates and you can set approval stage for your updates. And you can do everything on demand as well. So under the Windows updates page from the top menu, I always have an overview of all my machines are listed down here, and I can see where I have updates that are pending approval. And I can search and filter a bit like Excel, so I could tag my machines, I can group my machines. And I can, from this page, I can see exactly which updates are pending approval. And I could just say approval from here. So those updates are approved, or I could deny. So I have total control over what's happening. Some people like to schedule everything to happen out of production hours. Others prefer to keep right on top of everything and look carefully at all the updates and decide whether they're relevant or not. Whichever way works for you, or a combination of both, you've got total control of what's happening. You can also set alerts. So under the alerts page in Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze, I can be alerted if I have a vulnerable security status. And I could, if I like, set that alert up only for computers with certain tags. And I can decide whether I want to be alerted through the Cloud Console. I could decide I also want an email, or instead of being notified through the Cloud Console, I could choose to get an email. And another option is a push notification to my phone. So there's an app for Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze which allows you to manage all your computers through your phone. So you could have any of those three categories of notification for these three types of alert. So there's the vulnerable security status, or if I want an alert anytime I have a new pending patch that I need to approve, or if I want an alert anytime I have an outdated patch scan status. So again, you've got total control. So you can set everything up to happen in the background, but if you want to be notified as soon as you might have something that needs your attention, then you can make sure you're notified straight away. And you also have a dashboard. So under the Windows Update dashboard, I'm going to be able to see really helpful charts as to the security patch status of my estate. So I can see I have 4 highly vulnerable machines and 4 vulnerable ones. I can see my patch scan status. I can see where I've got missing patches, patches pending approval. I can see it by group and by policy. And I can easily just click through. So I can see there I've got 8 vulnerable computers. I'll just click on that, select them all, and install missing patches. So again, another way of making sure that you're right on top of what's happening. Nothing needs to ever escape your attention. And wherever your devices are, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. They can all be in completely different locations. This is a cloud-based product, so you're going to be able to manage your workstations, keep on top of your Windows updates in all circumstances. So that's the second method of delivering Windows updates if you are choosing not to use Deep Freeze. And then the third option is to use Faronics Cloud Deploy. So Faronics Cloud Deploy has very similar functionality to Faronics Cloud Deep Freeze. It's typically for environments where Deep Freeze is probably not necessary, so more corporate private sector organizations, but it doesn't have to be. So you can see here, I can see all my computers, I can see by group, by tag, I can see my operating system, my current user, and again, I just have to click here and I can see I've got some security updates that need approval. And I will just approve all those updates. And again, I can set up a policy. So for Windows updates, I can decide for which category of update I wish to automatically install, or if I want to defer, or if I want to deny. So Faronics Cloud Deploy is a third way of delivering the Windows updates. But if you're not sure which one's relevant to you, then please just have a chat to us. We'll be able to help you out. It's going to probably depend on the specifics of your environment. So I've used the word control quite a lot there. We do use the phrase total control because we do give you total control of what's happening as an IT manager through one web-based console that's easy to use. So when you're managing your workstations, you've just got everything in one place. I've shown you how you've got total control of your Windows updates, but you really have total control of everything else as well. And we'll be happy to show you how you can manage your workstations really easily in lots of other ways. So yeah, I've spoken about Windows updates, but we can save you time and keep you secure in lots of other ways. So we can automate all your software updates. We can make imaging much less of a hassle, save time there. And we include an intelligent power management module that will allow you to save money on electricity, and lots of other really helpful features that are going to save you time, save you money, keep you secure. So if there's anything else here that looks interesting, please let us know and we'll be happy to have a call and show you. We offer a free trial that you can sign up to from our website. So to sign up for the trial, you just need to create a policy and activate the functionality you need in your policy, then install the Cloud Agent on those devices that you want to manage, and then you're ready to go. So just to summarize today's session, Windows updates really shouldn't be something that you spend a lot of time worrying about or a lot of time managing. If you're finding Windows updates complicated, they really shouldn't be, and we can help. So I'm leaving our contact details on the screen now. So thank you very much. We've got a couple of questions in the Q&A. So how do I know if deep freeze or deploy is right for me? Yeah, that's something we can walk you through in the consultation phase. Yeah, certainly, if you're interested in automating your Windows updates, then let us know, and we'll be able to, if you can tell us a bit more about your environment, we'll be able to work it out for you. And then we've got another question there, which, if it's okay, thank you very much for that other question. I will take that question and answer it after the session, if that's okay. We'll definitely get back to you with the answer to that other question. And I will just pause 1 minute in case we have any other questions. Do we have any other questions? Okay. If you have anything that you think of afterwards, please let us know. That there are our contact details, and we'll be happy to talk to you after the session. Thanks very much for your time, and have a great day, and we'll catch you on the next webinar. Bye-bye.